Hello, today I'm going to talk about how to do your assessment using the online Essential Learning Checklist template. This is going to be specifically for grade 12 students since we are reporting on grade 12 students' marks at midterm time. I've made up a number of fake marks for a number of students using the template. You can see here that student number 2 has a 0. This type of student is going to be a student who has handed nothing in. You can see that this student right here has a 35, and this student is currently failing the course based on their essential learnings, but has handed something in at limited quality for essential learnings. And we can see that the range increases all the way to the student who is getting a 99, and this person has handed everything in with exceptional understanding of essential learnings. And my goal in this is to show how these marks pre-March 13th might change depending on a student's circumstance. So let's take a look at the student with a 99. Okay, and this could be any of the students that you have that have a grade of 90 or above. This student has likely completed everything that you've assigned so far and has grasped the essential learnings in place with absolute mastery. The question that they may have is what will their mark look like on the report card? Well, their mark on the report card will likely be a 99, as that is what you've assigned them before the midterm. However, there is the possibility that their mark could go to a 100%, and that is up to your personal discretion. Okay, if that student did work during week number 1, and you believe that they should earn a 100, that is up to your professional judgment. However, if they decide to do nothing, say they don't do anything during week number 1, let's say you give out a task and with 3 different essential learnings, they decide to not hand any of these 3 things in. You might wonder, okay, what should I be giving them on the report card? Well, you should still be giving them a 99%. We cannot penalize the student based on anything. We can't assume what the student's situation is. The worst case scenario for them will be a 99. You have to understand that all students have different situations. Sorry, I just exited out by accident. All students have different situations, and it's not our job to assume what's going on at home. Okay. On the other end of the spectrum, we might have a student who's getting a 0. As a student with a 0 is somebody who's handed nothing in. The question you might have is, what do I put on their midterm report card? Well, they still have an opportunity to increase this mark. You still have your week 1, which is technically starts on April 6th today, but more realistically, they might be able to hand stuff in during week 2, which is still before midterm reporting season. So I'll give a couple of scenarios. So let's say scenario 1, a student hands in nothing. So the student hands in nothing the entire time. They've had you've contacted them. They answered their phone. They said, "I'm going to hand stuff in," and they decided to do nothing. They still did nothing during week 1. On the report card, you're still going to give them the normal 0%. Okay. Now, if because this has a lot to do with your professional judgment, they do have some time to increase this mark, and they can do this in 2 ways. Number 1, they can complete previously assigned work up to your professional judgment. So let's say they hand in some stuff that they didn't hand in. This mark can definitely go up. So if they hand anything in, you should be giving them on their midterm report card a 35% or higher, depending on their grade, depending on their quality of work. Okay. And then finally, the option could be that the student doesn't hand anything prior, but just completes stuff during week 1. So they, maybe in January and February, you had a lot of work assigned to the student. They've done nothing. They've skipped. They were absent. But during week 1, they completed one of your essential learnings. Let's say they didn't do this essential learning, whatever it is. They did not do this essential learning, but they completed this one to a minimal level. That student, you're probably going to be giving them a 35% on their midterm. I know it's kind of a tricky thing to think about a student who isn't passing before the March break, but that is kind of the situation that we're in right now. You may have a student who has a 50 or a 35. If you've determined that student has a 50 before the March break, they will get the credit. They are obligated the credit. They cannot go lower than this 50. However, if they decide throughout their time to complete all of their essential learnings throughout the rest of the semester, they can definitely increase this mark from a 50 to whatever your professional judgment states. However, you cannot give them lower than a 50. I just would like to stress that point. So this tool can be used to just track your essential learnings in general. So in our scenario right here, I have 3 essential learnings. However, your essential learnings, I have some classes that have 5 essential learnings. So let's pretend I'd like to add a few columns. What you simply do in Google Sheets is you're going to right-click your column, and you're going to insert as many columns as you need. I'm going to insert to the right, and you can see here that I have room for 4 essential learnings. Maybe this one is oral communication, and maybe this one is written communication. Depends on your subject. And so you can see here that I now have the five essential learnings. Okay, so hopefully this tool helps. I've already designed everything based on week, so you can see week 1 is April 6th. And if you take a look at the bottom, we have April, May, and June. And a column to always include their grade 12 mark. Finally, I'd like to conclude with a scenario. Let's go back to that student with a 50%. Let's say throughout the semester, you're giving them level 4s, they get a level 3, they get a level 4, and it's time for their final report card grade. So we take a look at their April, May, and June. They're getting consistent level 3 and 4s, though they received a 50 near the end of the year. Because we are looking at overall expectations, this will be tricky because we cannot really know what they would have done in class. So you need to use your best judgment. Okay, so this 50, I would suggest if you're looking at this 50, to go back into your assessment tool, figure out why you gave them a 50 in the first place. If you have some essential learnings that are quite low, say in the I or R range, but some essential learnings that are higher, like a 2 or 3, maybe you want to consider those factors into your final grade. But remember, we are not using our traditional model where we compile everything and see what number comes out. Though you can do it if you believe in your professional judgment that is something to do. I highly suggest that their final report card grade would probably be somewhere between a 60 and a 70 in that case, since the student has demonstrated that even during the pandemic, they were able to increase their grade. That's it for now. Hopefully this template is useful for you. If you have any questions, please email the assessment group or ask a question. Thank you.